Jaguar Cars Incorporated presents Body Adjustments, Part 1. Throughout its proud history, a main ingredient in Jaguar's appeal has been hand craftsmanship. Even today, with automation being commonplace, the human element is still very important in crafting every Jaguar. To ensure that a good fit can be achieved, doors, hoods, trunk lids, and other access closings are provided with a certain degree of adjustability. This adjustability requires skilled technicians to ensure that in-service body adjustments are carried out in a procedure which will result in a long-lasting quality fit. In-service body adjustments may be required to eliminate wind or water leaks, repair accident damage, or correct for inaccuracies in visual appearance. This program, Body Adjustments Part 1, illustrates the correct procedures for fitting and adjusting doors, windows, hoods, and trunk lids for the XJ6 and Plas sedans. Let's first look at door and window adjustments. The condition and fit of the door seals should be checked first to determine the need for replacement or corrective action. XJ6 door adjustment must be carried out in a sequence starting at the rear door and working forward to the front fender. This considers the three panels as a unit and will result in an accurate fit with good visual appearance. Additionally, each panel has its own sequence of adjustment. Vertical and horizontal positioning is accomplished first. Then, the in-out and tilt of the door is adjusted, first at the hinge, then at the striker. Door adjustment is made easier by removing the strikers to allow freedom of movement. Retain the striker with a wire loop to prevent it from falling into the door post. Loosen all the rear door hinge bolts on the BC post. Note that the top hinge has two special countersunk bolts which must never be moved from their original locations. These are easily identified by the absence of a lock washer. Insert a 3/16" sheet of wood between the base of the door and the rocker panel. This will produce a parallel fit, set the vertical positioning, and support the door during adjustment. Slide the door back in the opening until there is close contact with the seal at the bow of the quarter window. Be sure there is no contact with the stainless trim. The gap between the rear of the door and the rear quarter panel should be accurately aligned. Tighten the hinge bolts in this position. Next, loosen all the hinge-to-door bolts to allow in-out positioning. Move the top front of the door in or out to achieve good seal contact first. Snug the top hinge bolts only. Move the bottom of the door in or out to achieve an even match with the rocker panel. Then, secure the hinges by tightening all the hinge bolts. Position the rear of the door by first reinstalling the striker and then adjusting by trial and error. The striker is adjusted correctly when there is no excessive opening or closing load, good seal contact, and a good match with the surrounding panels. When the rear door adjustment has been completed, check that the upper hinge-to-door center bolt head is not contacting the hinge when the door is fully closed. Grind the head of the bolt to give adequate clearance and refinish as necessary. Failure to provide clearance may result in damage to the BC post. Refer to Technical Service Bulletin J8454 for further details. The front door can now be adjusted. All adjustments are made by loosening the hinged door bolts. Vertically position the door by again using the 3/16" strip of wood to space and support the door at the rocker panel. Horizontal positioning is achieved by adding or subtracting shims between the hinges and the door. Shims are available through the parts department. The gap between the front and rear doors should be even and match the gap at the rear door as closely as possible. Snug, but do not tighten the hinge bolts when this is achieved. Adjust the in-out positioning of the front of the door matching the rocker panel and front fender while ensuring good seal contact. Then tighten the hinge bolts. Reinstall the front door striker and adjust the same as the rear door. If necessary to match the front door to fender gap, the front fender can be repositioned. Door lock adjustment involves the movement and setting of many components. Shown here are all the components with identification. The following procedure is for the front doors. After removing the armrest and interior casing, remove the rear window guide channel to allow access to the interior mechanism. With the door open, set the striker catch to the closed position and the interior lock flap to the lock position. Where fitted, loosen the two solenoid mounting bolts. Also, disconnect the 4 pin trigger connectors where fitted to prevent solenoid operation during adjustment. Adjust the length of the lower rod until the interior flap lever just reaches the full lock position. Now, set the flap lever to the unlock position and disconnect the upper rod at the inside mechanism. Adjust the vertical release rod so that the mechanism lightly contacts the release peg. Reconnect the upper rod and adjust its length until the catch releases with 1/2 the total movement of the interior release lever. Reset the catch to the closed position and check the operation of the interior flap lever when the lock key is turned. Position the solenoid if fitted. With the key turned fully clockwise, move the solenoid to its full rearward position. Mark this position. Repeat with the key turned fully counterclockwise and the solenoid moved full forward. Again, mark this position. Locate the solenoid between the marks and tighten the 2 mounting bolts. Then, reconnect the 4-pin trigger connector. Release the catch, close the door, and check the operation of the key lock and exterior release. Then, reinstall the window guide channel. Lubricate all the linkages with multi-purpose grease and, if necessary, lubricate the nylon catch mechanism sparingly with light machine oil. Window adjustment is possible to correct for tight or loose-fitting glass and misalignment. The procedure which follows applies to the front door. With the interior casing removed, fully lower the glass. The bolt on the lower front of the motor access panel retains and positions the front window channel. Loosen the bolt and move toward the front for more clearance. Move toward the rear to provide less channel clearance. When positioned as desired, tighten the bolt. Next, raise the glass to within 1/2 inch from the top. Loosen 1 bolt and 1 nut securing the rear guide rail. Seat the glass fully into the rear channel by pressing down and back. Tighten the bolt and nut in this position. The bolt and nut must be horizontal or with the nut slightly down. This will keep the glass tight in the rear channel when the window is fully closed and allow adequate clearance for proper operation. The up and down travel limits are set by the motor stop adjustment. Carefully adjust in small increments to achieve full travel. Rear door windows seldom require adjustment. If necessary, they are adjusted by adding or subtracting card packings under the guide channels. When adjustment is completed, the window's cycle time should be checked with the engine operating. 1/2 of a cycle should take a maximum of 5 seconds. This is the time to open or close the window. The window channels should be lightly lubricated with Teflon Super Lube or graphite lock-ease as required for smooth operation. If the window's cycle time is slow after adjusting and lubrication, the motor, electrical circuit, and regulator mechanism should be checked. Be sure to consider the condition of the battery and charging system when checking the window's cycle time. After servicing, the doors must be resealed with the plastic rain curtain to prevent damage to the interior casing and trim. Now, let's next look at the procedure for adjusting the hood fit. Remove the grille assembly, both hood springs and both hood lock pins to allow access and freedom of movement. With the hood held open, loosen all hood-to-hinge bolts, 3 each hinge. Close the hood and position vertically and from side to side. When positioned correctly, tighten the inner bolt of each hinge through the grille opening. Open the hood and tighten the remaining bolts. Fore and aft positioning is accomplished by moving the bumper strut housings. 2 bolts are accessed in the fender wells under the wheel arch. The remaining bolt is accessed from the engine side. Reinstall the hood pins and align into the catch. Use grease to establish center in the catch. The pins can be bent slightly or the catch moved slightly to centralize the pin. Then, adjust the pins vertically to align the rear edge of the hood with the cowling. Reinstall the springs and the grille assembly. Exercise care during these operations to avoid paint damage and personal injury. Adjust the release cable so that there is 1/8 inch free play with the handle in the closed position. In-service difficulty with the hood popping open on rough surfaces has been occasionally encountered. This may be due to inadequate clearance at the hood check strap. If contact is noticed in this area, grind the strap sufficiently to eliminate all contact and repaint as necessary. Refer to Technical Service Bulletin J8549. Emergency hood release access points are provided in each fender well. By inserting a screwdriver and levering toward the rear, the hood catch will release. Adjustment of the trunk lid is easily accomplished with the aid of a helper inside the trunk to loosen and tighten the hinge bolts while the exterior panel is positioned. Fore and aft and side-to-side positioning should be adjusted first. Loosen the hinge to trunk bolts to allow this positioning. Front up and down positioning, tilt, as well as limited fore-aft adjustment is made possible by loosening the hinge side bolts. In extreme cases, the hinge assembly may be moved for limited fore and aft positioning. The trunk lock and latch is adjustable and should be reset when the lid is adjusted. The release pressure and rear vertical alignment is set by adjustment of the striker. The catch mechanism can also be moved up and down and side to side if necessary to adjust the release pressure. Release should occur at approximately 1/2 travel of the trunk release lever. Position the latch rod in one of the available holes to achieve this setting. The lock solenoid should be positioned to fully operate the lock mechanism. Do not over-adjust, as damage to the bracket may result. By following the procedures illustrated in this program, Jaguar technicians can be assured of obtaining a quality fit for doors, windows, hoods, and trunk lids. Besides ensuring correct operation and sealing, visual appearance will also be enhanced. This completes Body Adjustments Part 1, another Performance Masters service training program.